Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the first long form anime series I ever watched, and that is Bleach. Also, if you couldn't tell, I'm in a totally real bedroom, so as I get more comfortable, let me go over why I believe you should watch Bleach if you haven't already. But before we do, I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of April, so if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Bleach is an anime that started airing back in 2004. It is based off of the manga by Tite Kubo, who has also made other series such as Burn the Witch, which is also really good. Studio Pierrot was the studio chosen to adapt the anime, and that came with its own individual pros and cons. Now, as much as I love the original Bleach anime, as it got a lot of things right, I don't personally believe Pierrot did it justice. In this series, we follow Ichigo Kurosaki, a somewhat normal teenager who can communicate and see spirits. Ichigo's family one night is attacked by a hollow, which is an evil spirit that is the result of a spirit lingering on its negative emotions. Think like a poltergeist. Ichigo, along with the help of a mysterious girl called Rukia Kuchiki, defeat the hollow, attacking his family, after she's transferred him some of her power as a soul reaper. Which, by the way, can we just take a moment to appreciate that this is a show about gods of death? Like, that's so cool. It does the concept of a Shinigami really well, because while in Death Note you have like Ryuk and the other Shinigami who are like more of a chaotic neutral, in Bleach you have the Shinigami where some are bad, some are good, and some are also neutral. But anyway, I'm getting a bit too far ahead of myself. The pair, along with Ichigo's friends Orihime and Chad, both of whom awaken their own spiritual powers, which yet again is fucking awesome, defend Karakura town and their classmates from attacks by hollows. Eventually, another of their classmates, a boy by the name of Uryu Ishida, reveals to them that he can also see spirits, as he is what is known as a Quincy. Now, this is where things get interesting, as it is revealed later on in the series that the Quincy are the ancient enemies of the Soul Reapers, which is another aspect I really like the history of Bleach. It goes back so far, and the reasoning that the conflict happens in the modern story is because of the actions by characters thousands of years ago, which I know some other anime do that, and I know like in One Piece, for instance, you have the Void Century, which sets up the modern day story, but I think the idea that two factions who have both been around for thousands of years and are still around hate each other on a fundamental level and cannot coexist with each other whatsoever because of their own individual beliefs and their leaders is so fucking intriguing and really, really good. Ichigo is one of my favourite main characters in anime for one simple reason. He is easily one of the most relatable of the big three in terms of goal and ambition. He doesn't have a goal like becoming King of the Pirates or becoming Hokage. He simply just wants to protect the people who he loves and cares about from harm. The reason behind this, however, isn't happy, because when Ichigo was a young boy to school, he was walking home with his mother when he spotted an odd-looking girl. Now, this wasn't a girl, it was a hollow. Ichigo didn't know this. His mother, however, did, and when Ichigo ran down to save what he presumed was the girl, the hollow attacked, and sadly his mother, seeing this, tried to protect him, but she died for reasons that are revealed later on in the series. She had died in front of her own son, protecting him. Naturally, this had irreversible psychological impact on Ichigo. He simply felt it was his fault his mother had died, when that wasn't the truth. I think this ties in as well with Rukia's own trauma, which is a whole other beast, but let me just dive into that quickly. Rukia is a Soul Reaper. She is in Squad 13. Now, Squad 13 is led by Jushiro Ukitake, fucking amazing character, by the way, and it used to have the lieutenant named Kaien Shiba. Now, Rukia and Kaien, they got on really well. He was her mentor, she looked up to him, but one day they were called to a scene where a hollow had been sighted and was attacking people. Now, unfortunately, Kaien succumbed to the hollow and was possessed by it, and then Rukia had to cut down her mentor and her best friend at the time when he was possessed by an evil spirit, which is just tragic, let me put it that way. But I think this ultimately leads into their really interesting dynamic, since they both have trauma about them and they both in a sense help each other heal from that trauma. Now, I'm not talking in a sense like Ash and Eiji from Banana Fish. I'm talking in a sense of they both know the other one will always have their back no matter what, and that if they themselves aren't strong enough to protect who they care about and love, the other one will step up in any way possible to help them. The side cast of Bleach is also really really strong and has a great range of characters, a few samples being Shunsui, who is amazing, the previously mentioned Ukitake. By the way, Shunsui and Ukitake are definitely boyfriends, just saying. Head Captain Yamamoto, who is one of my personal favourite characters in the series, Urahara, and Yoroichi. Sorry for my pronunciations, by the way, in some of these. And for once in an anime, the whole side cast is actually used, and frequently at that, which is good. The themes that Bleach tackle have actually really helped me a lot in real life, which is another reason I love this series so much. The theme I want to talk about here is the fact Bleach shows characters who have suffered through trauma and eventually in a natural way heal from it, the biggest being Ichigo with his mother's death and accepting all parts of himself and no longer denying who he actually truly is. I also think Bleach deals with the theme of death particularly well. I mean, being a show about death gods, you would hope it would, and oh boy, it actually really does. The way Bleach treats death and the concept of the afterlife is astounding. I mean, with the main villain group, the Espada, they all represent an aspect of death. My favourites being nihilism, destruction, loneliness, and senescence, who are all represented by characters that fit the theme. In the show, we are also shown that even the most rigid power structures, and even the most rigid of people, can be changed when influenced by the right person. The Soul Society before Ichigo came along was dogmatic and rigid, but when they actively started working with him, they became less and less so and more open to human ideals. And as the series goes on, we even see that the Shinigami respect Ichigo enough to help him, even in his darkest of times. The final point I want to touch on for this section is the moral ambiguity of Bleach, and how, even though it is a series presented as good versus evil, it isn't always clear which side is good and which side is evil. The Soul Society, whilst portrayed as the good guys, should be rarely seen that in any sense. Most of the issues and villains that arise throughout the series are pretty much all of their own faults, maybe except one of them, but even then, that is a very, very big stretch, so I don't know. The ultimate lesson though we learned from Bleach is this: that while your trauma may haunt you now, one day it will stop haunting you when you decide to let go and accept that it has happened. When you move on from your trauma, it will be a big step, and I know it may not seem like it now. One day, in your own time, don't pressure yourself. One day you will accept yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that even includes your trauma, and one day you will get over it, and you'll be a much happier person when you have accepted it has happened and you can finally move on. Well, that is all for today's video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you thought of today's video, and I will see you all in the next one. See ya.